Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome back to my channel. I'm Josh Elgrange, here to make another video. And also, if you really want to, I'm going to do this on my live stream, another Q&A. So you can ask me anything you want. No holds barred. I'll answer your questions as soon as I possibly can. So I want to start off with my collection. And by the way, I'm not just a collector of movies. These are movies that really impacted my life. So I'm going to start out with this bad boy. The original Halloween film series. It also includes the remake, but they're both unrated. Which I don't understand. I wish the first one was R, not unrated. But if it wasn't for Michael Myers and John Carpenter's film in 1978, I wouldn't be a fan. Just because I didn't grow up seeing these in theaters, I got to see them upon their release. So when I first watched Halloween, it was on I think it was on NBC. It was the broadcast station, of course, and they had scenes that are not included in the final cut, of course. So yeah, I also picked up, and I love this film for different reasons. I thought it was neat to do something different because, and you also have John Carpenter, executive producer, who absolutely thought this was a good idea. I mean, yes, it's kind of a remake and not really a remake. So here you have it. Halloween 2018. So I have 11 films in the franchise, even though technically 3 is the only movie that stands alone. So I'm going to grab my other horror collection so I can show off these. I'll be right back. Alright. I want to do this kind of differently. Okay, guys, I'm back. So, again, to me, if there's so many sequels, I want to collect them, but I also watch every single one. And yes, with all sequels, I have my least favorite ones. But here we go with the classic Friday the 13th complete box set. It also has the 3D version of Part 3 in 3D, because the regular version I had did not have 3D. And yet, it still hurts my eyes to watch that. Then you got the remake, which is the director's cut. I saw this in theaters. I owed myself to go see this in theaters, because again, if it wasn't for the originals, I would have no interest in seeing this or any horror film after that. And of course, what could be complete? A documentary, the complete retrospective. His name was Jason. 12 films, 3 decades. Bad Luck Was Never So Bloody. And then, of course, I consider this a funny, silly Jason movie. You all know what I'm talking about. Jason 10, Jason X. It's so silly. I still laugh occasionally. It's still a good movie to watch. And then, of course, because no box set, not even Blu-ray box set, or the recent box sets have this movie uncut, unrated. You have to get this on DVD because it doesn't exist. Alright, now my final, and I might do some more horror related stuff here. While I had all 7 of these films on DVD, I decided to do myself a favor and go upgrade myself to a Blu-ray copy of the original Nightmare on Elm Street. I love Wes Craven's Nightmare on Elm Street. It was the best movie I ever saw. I was terrified of Freddy. I mean, again, when, I think it was Dream Child. That was in 89. So I was 5 years old. And after that, they had Freddy's Nightmares. And to me, looking at Freddy from a 5-year-old's perspective. No, it was 1988. I forgot. It was 1988 when they released Freddy's Nightmares. From a 4-year perspective, I had no idea who Freddy was. Nobody told me who he was. I didn't realize he wasn't real, because in my mind, he was real. And that I was like looking at this burnt-looking man thinking, oh my god, this is horrifying. So I also got, of course, I had to get the remake, which I saw in theaters. I took my nephew to see both Rob Zombie's remakes, because he was a huge fan of the originals. So I grew up and I shared it with my nephew. So I'm going to show you some classic horror films that predate all that stuff right there. Because I have a love for horror. And now I just got to find the damn thing. What the hell? Well, of course, Phantasm predates it. Oh, shit. Can't seem to find it. I can't find something that predates it. Oh, wait, the car. Of course. And the... Why not? Okay. I'm sorry I'm back. It took me a while, but I got a few movies that actually predate, both Halloween, Friday the 13th, and Nightmare on Elm Street. And who can say no to this movie? The Car. Pretty classic movie. Unfortunately, they did finally make a sequel, and it's been, 30-some years later, I believe? I don't know. Or maybe 40 years later. But also the Amityville Horror, the original. While I did somewhat like the remake, I still go back and I'll watch this movie over and over again, because this movie, and also, before Halloween, as many should know, I was a huge Tremors fan. So, those were my movies back in the 90s, was Tremors, a horror comedy. And I loved it. I mean, I was scared, because graboids are terrifying looking. I mean, they're giant worms that come out of nowhere and eat you. All because you made some sound. But anyone who claims I'm not a fan of the originals really doesn't know who I am, because I watched the originals. I grew up on the originals, just because I didn't get to see it in theaters, because at the time, I didn't get to see them. I wasn't born, in the 70s. If I was born in 1970, which, by the way, my older brother was born in 1970, and then my second older brother was born in 72, and my third oldest brother was born in 76, so they got to grow up on this one. But see, I watched all these movies, and not by myself. My nephew watched them. I'm pretty sure my parents weren't happy with me showing him rated R films of horror films, but he loved them. He was scared, but he also loved these films, just like I did. And so when I go see a new movie that comes out with the same title, I'm really trying to help the other generation love these movies. If they don't love them, they don't love them. I thought Halloween 2018 was pretty good. I mean, I wish they would have showed Donald Pleasance from the original shooting, Michael Myers off that balcony, and then showing a scene where they arrested him instead of him leaving. Because towards the end of Halloween 1938, his body's not there. He completely is gone. And of course, Donald Pleasance is no longer with us, and in February, he turns 100 years old, so we'll be celebrating his 100th birthday. I'm sorry this is a long video, but I really can't show you everything in my room, because it's impossible, unless I take the laptop and I move around. But, okay, over there's some movies, and behind me, over there is a lot of movies. Now, I don't just collect movies. I also remember the nostalgic of these films, and what they had an impact on my life. If I would have never seen John Carpenter's Halloween, I don't think I would be a complete fan of the franchise. I stayed loyal to the franchise. Yes, there's some good moments and there's bad moments in every sequel. Sequels are not perfect. I have some least favorite ones. I think Part 5 is horrible because, really? They make Jamie a mute and a psychically linked to Michael Myers because he just so happens to be your uncle. So see, if you think about it, Halloween 4 and Halloween 5 literally destroyed the franchise when they brought in the niece, in a way. And 3 cult trilogy, in a way. Because 4 and 5 and 6 were considered a cult of the Thorn, even though we didn't see it in 4 that much. But I like to just, like I said, I love these movies for multiple reasons. It's not that I hate them. It's not that I don't think the originals live up, because they're classics. Now, I have somewhere, I can't find it right now, Frankenstein, the original Frankenstein sequels, along with the classic 1932 Boris Karloff film, and I love it. I love black and white movies, too. Nowadays, everyone tries to color them or make them look, I don't know. They've never colored those films, and if they did, I probably wouldn't watch them as much because it has more impact in black and white. But again, I grew up on these films. Different decade, though. I was born in '84, so, you know, I couldn't go to a movie theater and see the original Nightmare on Elm Street. I would have been a baby. I wouldn't even understand what's going on when it came out. You know, I'd been like 8, 9, 10, 11. I'd been 4 months old when the original Nightmare on Elm Street came out. So I'd be 4 months old. I wouldn't understand what I was watching. I'd probably be like, you know, you never know. I might cry or poop myself. But I grew up on these films. But to say that I'm not a fan of the originals is a huge understatement. They're the reasons why I got into horror. Without horror, if I would have never watched any of these films, I would probably not be a horror fan at all. I'd probably just stay with comedies. And even kid films scared me when I was a kid. I didn't have a high tolerance on fear. But again, I know most people don't like the 2018 because it destroyed what Halloween 2 did. But by the way, we gotta remember, John Carpenter, drinking a 6-pack of beer, just decided that Michael and Laurie were brother and sister. He could have said they're not sister or siblings at all, and that would have made more sense, because think about it. Was she a baby? Because in the remake, they touch on that. Was she a baby when Michael Myers killed his older sister? And that's why he knew he had a sister. When I watch Halloween 1978, I just think Michael Myers sees Laurie Strode, and she resembles his dead sister, and that's about it. But even in the trailer, when they said, oh, he murdered 4 people, he didn't. He murdered 5. And Laurie corrects that in the movie. But again, Halloween 20 years later, a lot of people will say, well, that was decent. I mean, they killed Michael Myers off, but they really didn't kill him off because they always come back and explain that wasn't Michael Myers, which originally the script said it really wasn't Michael Myers. It was a copycat killer who just happened to learn about Tate's real name. So that was one thing. And Resurrection had a good concept, but it was badly written, I think. I think it's bad. It's still a guilty pleasure movie, if you want to watch it. Just like Halloween 3 is a guilty pleasure of mine, which my nephew absolutely hates that movie. He still hates it to this day. He's like, he didn't understand. He's like, I don't get this. Why did they do that? You know, that happens sometimes. So I hope that everyone has a good night, and I'll be back later to do a live stream. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Hit the like button. But also, I'm not just a collector. Yes, I collect movies because of the significance of them. How many sequels there are, I get them. And I watch them. And I watched Halloween 2018, and I walked away kind of happy. But I just know that Michael Myers is not dead. And some people are like, well, did he kill Laurie? I'm like, no. Oh, well, that sucks. He didn't do that. Go watch the movie. It's a good movie. Maybe Laurie Strode does die. I don't know. Even though I'm trying to figure out who's driving the truck. You can't see him. Maybe that's actually Michael Myers driving the truck. Who knows what the next one will be. And to say that Blumhouse destroyed Halloween, then John Carpenter was right there helping destroy it. So that's pretty funny, because John Carpenter was there the whole time. and he had a first-time director direct the movie. And you know, I laughed at some scenes in the movie because, again, teenagers are pretty humorous in movies. Alright guys, I'm going to wrap up this video. I'm sorry it's longer than usual, but I wanted to show off my collection and say, yes, I'm a fan of the original. If it wasn't for that, I would not be a fan of horror. I'd just be like, yeah, you guys can go ahead and watch your horror films. I probably wouldn't even play Friday the 13th game, because I'd be too scared of Jason. That's why I do that tactic where I smack him and I run away from him. Because I'm not going to just hang around. I just smacked him. I laid him on his butt. I'm leaving. Bye. Alright guys, hope you guys enjoy this again. I'll be back later, and I'll do another Q&A. If you guys have any questions, you can ask me anything. I will gladly answer it. Alright guys, have a good night.